was the war about?
What do you say?
Say it loud so he can hear.
What was the war about?
What was the war about?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the war started with the Japanese. They invaded Pearl Harbor, and then the president was President Roosevelt, and then they decided that Hitler was getting too powerful over there. He was taking all of Europe, and the only country they hadn't taken was England. And Roosevelt and Churchill was the Prime Minister of England at the time, and they were good friends, and Roosevelt decided he would help Churchill and send some troops over there and stop the Hitler from invading England. And that's how we all ended up going to France and in the invasion and fighting the Germans.
That guy tried to steal a bunch of art, right?
Bunch of what?
Art.
Art, but he was more interested in taking over the world, including the art. Are you talking about Hitler?
What about the Eiffel
Is that
Tower?
who you're talking about? He's talking about Hitler.
Yeah, Hitler wanted to conquer the world.
And so there was one little island left in Europe, and that Hitler couldn't get.
That was
That was the
England.
island that Henry was on.
What could he possibly do with the world?
That's up to him. Some people just want power. They just want to be, you know what I mean? It's not like, what's he going to do with the world? He wanted to be the most powerful person. Well, would you say that, Henry? Why did
Yeah,
Hitler-
well, you've always had
men
men like that ever since the beginning of the Bible days. There's always somebody who wanted to invade somebody and steal something from somebody else, and they want power. And the more power they get, the more powerful they get, and they think that's great, but it's not very good for people like you and I.
Is the name of someone who has the whole world called something like there's a president and a mayor and...
What would you call the person who's in charge of the world? An emperor? I don't know. What would be a name for that person?
Mr.
That's what he's asking.
Oh, I don't know
Doctor-
what to
Presidents
call.
are elected, aren't they? I don't think that he's...
Yeah, presidents are elected. People.
Doctor, I rule everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You call him sir is what you tell him.
Going
So,
back,
can we give him... Go ahead.
going back to what you said about Frank, how long did you know him?
Oh, close to a year.
But they lived together and fought together every day, and they helped each other every single day. They counted on each other. Right? All of you.
That's right. I met Frank when I first went in the Army, what they call basic training. And we took our basic training in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and we trained for 6 months. And Frank was with me. We were in the same company, and we lived in the same barracks, and that's how we become such good friends.
And did you kind of lose a little bit of like hope and courage when he passed away?
Oh, yeah?
And then how many years after that were you still in the war?
I don't understand it.
How many years after he passed away were you in the war still?
3 years.
Can we give Henry just like... Henry, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, I'm glad
That was
because
great.
I don't know if it did you any
kids,
good,
can
but...
just stay
You were
put a
great.
minute.